liked my time with Midnight Suns, and as an avid strategy RPG fan, I think I can give a better, more comprehensive review than many of those games journalists you've been listening to. This review will be spoiler-free, but comes from my experience playing throughout the game. Let's talk about what doesn't work first, so you can end on a high note. I don't personally care too much about the buggy state of the game. The real bad stuff will get patched, and most of the issues are graphical. It sucks that a lot of the problems, such as the stutter on PC, the clipping issues with characters in the environment, and other stuff like that, have all been around since XCOM. No, not XCOM 2. I'm talking about Enemy Unknown. That being said, a lot of it I've come to expect. The real issue here is the game design sometimes goes out of its way to make this a problem. For example, before each story mission, the game makes you walk through this portal. Cool, but also loading Limbo tanks the game's frame rate all over again as it has to load in a new area. Why can't the portal just take you straight to the battlefield? This hallway never changes, and it doesn't hide a loading screen because I have to wait on the loading screen afterward. Overall, it's just loading a lot of unnecessary things that could be cut to make the game experience better, or at least be toggleable in a menu or something. The second big issue here is New Game Plus. Almost nothing carries over into New Game Plus, and while I didn't expect levels to carry over, I expected at least cosmetics would. Personally, since this game's Abbey seems inspired by the Three Houses Monastery, they could take a page out of Three Houses' book again and give us a currency to spend and buy previously acquired upgrades in New Game Plus, like levels, cards, etc. And speaking of the Abbey, your exploration progress should absolutely carry over to New Game Plus. Look, I don't want to solve all the puzzles a second time, that would be boring. There's no video game ever made where puzzles will hold up on the second playthrough. The third major issue I had was with deck building. There just aren't enough cards for most characters. The Hunter gets a decent amount, but with everyone else it feels not great. It sucks to open another Gamma Coil only to get the same boring cards every time. And with only one level of card upgrade, the duplicates aren't worth it. I ran out of ways to upgrade my team outside of random card mods when my team was around level 15. The max level is 25. The game simply does not have a deep enough card deck to make that amount of time investment worth it. That's basically everything I had an issue with. The rest are minor nitpicks. I felt Firaxis really overestimated how useful Bind was. The only time I used it was when Doctor Strange rolled a Bind spell with free attached to it, because otherwise it wasn't worth playing. Chain attacks also feel too weak unless you have a secondary effect, and most chain attacks only get secondary effect through mods or other cards, which felt eh. I don't like hangouts. They seem to appear after missions at complete random, which means half the time I unlock my hangouts with characters I don't want. I wish you still got friendship when completing missions without the Hunter. My Hunter is overleveled as it is, and I just want to use the rest of the cast. I like that you can view your deck easily when picking new cards, but I wish you could look at your entire card inventory instead. And I hate that characters sometimes give you help requests that cannot be completed, such as giving a gift when you cannot go to Hangouts on demand. Now, onto the good. And holy shit, this game is really damn good. The card system is a brilliant way to balance the game, with each character feeling unique and fun to use. The small deck size, even if I wish I had more cards to put in it, works really well to ensure you don't feel too far away from good cards. The card is balanced around the 3 card play limit well, so it feels like there is a lot of strategy behind making the most out of those 3 cards during your turn. Progressing through the game, at least until you run out of cards to collect, feels fun and engaging, with the random nature of cards and mods adding variety into every playthrough. The Abbey is also done really, really well. I liked the writing of the characters as a whole. They feel very comic booky and silly in a good way, but never felt like they made light of the plot or ongoing conflict, allowing the stakes to still feel strong the whole way through. Exploring the Abbey for cosmetic unlocks feels fun and rewarding, and I genuinely enjoyed solving many of the puzzles on the grounds to unlock the Words of Power and get a full run of the place. And you get to pet the dog and the cat, so that's good. Unlike the Monastery and Fire Emblem, which the Abbey is often compared to, the Abbey feels less routine and repetitive. We don't have to watch 20 cutscenes of people eating food, for example. The game feels like it respects your time, and it doesn't want to trap you here with busy work. The mission design is phenomenal. I've only gotten a few side missions where the enemy configuration felt a little bullshit, otherwise I usually find them to be a fun and fair challenge. Most missions involve dividing your time between killing enemies and accomplishing some timed objective, which rewards aggressive and smart play. The objectives are varied, and new ones are constantly opening up as you get further in the story, keeping the side missions fresh. Lastly, and probably the biggest problem for Midnight Suns, is the character variety. Every single character feels so unique and different from all the other ones. They all very clearly do their own thing, and all manage to feel strong in their own ways. A lot of strategy RPGs struggle because it's hard to make characters not just do the same thing as everyone else, since every mission needs to be beatable with any group of characters. But Firaxis nailed it. The game feels sandboxy in that I never feel forced, outside of when the game is actually forcing you, to bring specific characters to a mission. Everyone feels viable in each scenario because they all have the same basic components, quick attacks, knockback, etc., while still having a unique gameplay mechanic or two that makes them feel different to use. Overall, I really love the way these characters were built, and I can't wait to see if the DLC characters keep up that trend. And that should be just about everything. I don't really do number ratings, so I won't. It's a really good game, and a few updates for performance and quality of life would make it absolutely awesome. The only real issue I had with it that I don't see being fixed eventually is the too limited number of cards, unless we get some kind of big expansion to the game after the DLC. So yeah, if you enjoyed hearing my thoughts, subscribe to the channel for way too much of that. And if you have your own thoughts on if the game is good, feel free to leave a comment and state your truth. Thanks for watching.